Going live. Going live. We're live.
We're live!
I
like me at this angle. I'm gonna sit like this and just stare at you
And
creepily.
just keep a little
whole
closer.
time.
You're just gonna be over on the edge of the frame. You're gonna keep...
I'm just gonna be like this the whole time. Super creepo. I like it. Look, I'm like a black hole. Okay, there, that's fair.
Yeah. My hair is. I went to the gym and forgot my headband,
Oh,
and
I like
then
it.
hit it with some dry shampoo. That's
I like it.
that's the hair of the day.
It's good times. Mine is Grace got teenager drunk last night. The end. And then showered but did not wash my hair. Because unlike teenager drunk Grace, I did not throw up.
Score.
So I did not have to wash my hair.
You know, it's the age of, it's a sign of maturity right
Grown
there.
up. Hashtag grown up. Drink. Dumb.
We started watching season 2 of Legion.
Oh, nice.
That show.
Where is it available?
Season 1 and 2 are on Hulu. It is so beautifully fucked up.
Okay.
You would love it for the same reason I love it. The visual language of the show.
Well, season 1 I remember was fucking amazing.
And so they have season 2, and it continues. The visual language of that show is unlike anything else I've seen before.
I will watch it. We're watching The Boys.
I've heard this yesterday when I was at your house, and that's the extent of what I know about it.
It's Grant Morrison. It's a Grant Morrison graphic novel. The guy who did Preacher.
Okay.
It's the same guys who put Preacher on AMC. It's Seth Rogen and I forget the other dude.
Still haven't seen Preacher.
Apparently the AMC one, based on the critics I know who have read the book, is not as great as the graphic novel. However,
to be fair, I haven't read the graphic novel, so it's probably gonna be pretty good in my book.
Yeah. Well, so what I'm told is they kind of they washed it down a little.
I can imagine.
Which makes sense for TV. But on Hulu, on not Hulu, on Amazon Prime,
they don't give no shits.
It's fucking real.
Yeah.
There's a scene in the beginning that you're like, oh, that's gory. It's great. I'm not very far in. This is how I know it's pretty interesting. Domestic partner boyfriend Jesse doesn't watch TV.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
And he is sucked into this show. What's his name?
When I can
Jack Quaid.
When I can get Nick to not watch YouTube videos about Jeeps right now, that's how you know it's something
good, worthwhile.
Yeah.
Jack Quaid is pretty great.
Please tell me that he is the son of.
He is the son of Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's an adult person.
Wow.
Just to show how old we are.
I mean, I still have a hard time with Colin Hanks being like.
He's our age too.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like I have.
Yeah.
Just
doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Can we just also have a moment before we start the podcast going on about Won't You Be My Neighbor?
I can have a lot of moments. I can have every moment.
Like,
guys, this is going to be a tangent cast.
Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers is one of the most pure things, and there is. Brother Matt stated it perfectly when he went, there is no one on the face of the planet that could successfully play Mr. Rogers.
Yeah. Other than Tom Hanks. No one else.
Other than Tom Hanks.
More likable.
He is Walt Disney and Tom Hanks. Walt Disney and Mr. Rogers, I mean.
So one of my favorite memes, because that's me.
Yeah.
That is emerged because of the new Won't You Be My Neighbor trailer.
Yeah.
Is the one where it says, I hope in the closing credits, the secret cutscene at Won't You Be My Neighbor is the
introduction of the Bob Ross. Oh my God.
Or the, what is it? Like the Mr. Rogers Cinematic Universe? Or they called it something much more clever than that.
I would be so down for that.
I want to find it. I'm going to find it. But it was, they basically made it a cinematic universe of like all the nice people.
Oh my God. I would be so for that. You saw Will Wheaton's newest tattoo is Mr. Rogers' tattoo.
I did see that.
It's so cool.
I love Mr. Rogers. We all love Mr. Rogers. I know we're all very aware of it. And I think each of us feels like specifically tied to it. And I think that's the magic of what he did.
Yeah.
There was he's the reason I have a shoe closet. Like when you come home, you take off your jacket in the closet and you put your shoes in that closet.
Yeah.
He taught me how to tie my shoes. The reason I'm going to the college I'm going to is because he's an alumnus.
Because it's his college.
Yeah.
I would sit on the bed because my mom worked nights.
Yeah.
So she would nap, and my brother, tiny brother, like football brother, would sleep, and then I would watch 2 Mr. Rogers and a Sesame Street.
Yeah.
And then I'd wake my mom up.
There you go.
To give us lunch and to get me to the bus to go to kindergarten.
Oh, that sounds about right. I used to tell time with the TV shows too. Yeah.
I will say in like full, completely predictableness, Mr. Rogers was not the greatest TV influence of my formative years.
Okay, that's fair.
I think we can guess who that was.
I'm gonna let you guess.
It was Jordy LaForge taught me how to read.
Oh fuck! Yes, of course. Of course he did.
It was fucking Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, it was.
Reading Rainbow was. I obviously there's not a person who Mr. Rogers did not like.
Sorry,
but it was Reading Rainbow, and the moment a number of years ago that I got to sing the Reading Rainbow theme song with Mr. Cool. Jordy LaForge. It was amazing.
Did you ever do the thing that I did where you would rehearse the book that you would read? You know how I always have kids at the end?
Fuck yes.
And they're like, hi, I like this book. It's about this thing and these stuffs. I would rehearse that.
So my favorite thing, the story, my mom and I are going to New York City to go to theater, because that's what we did.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered earlier that week that LeVar it was right as his new Reading Rainbow app was coming out for Apple. Yeah. And he had a show at the Apple Store.
Wait, do we want to share this with everybody?
We can. Okay, I'll hold it.
I just realized that we're not recording on the audio.
Okay. Ready? What episode are we?
181.
Welcome to episode 181 of There's No Place Like Terra, a Stargate First Watch Rewatch podcast. I am Nixie.
And I am Grace.
Wait. Rewind. Rewind.
Good job.
Rewind.
We'll start it.
For those in the video,
we did not plug in the microphone.
Have the microphone plugged in.
Hang on, give me 1 second to... it just starts a new recording.
Oh, what? Do you want me to start a new recording?
No.
Okay.
I thought it was.
Nope.
Okay, so
start
at 45 so that I have a nice card.
We're going to wait until 39. 10, 9, countdown to launch.
3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to episode 181 of There's No Place Like Terra, a Stargate First Watch Rewatch podcast. I am Nixie.
And I am Grace, and this is a clusterfuck. Today we're going over SG1, Season 8, Episode 15, Citizen Joe, a.k.a. Lock Your Fucking Doors. You'll notice we're a little buff-razzled. Because we're not just frazzled, we're buff-razzled. But Nixie was sharing a great story on the video.
I was.
And I really wanted her to share it with everybody. So y'all are welcome.
Okay.
But I'm going to start us over. We were discussing a little bit of the Mr. Rogers.
Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Won't You Be My Neighbor trailer.
Tom Hanks is amazing.
And I talked about how he taught me to tie my shoes and was the most influential television personality in my tiny life. And a couple more things. And then Nixie was sharing her amazing story.
And then I went as is predictable as I can imagine predictability for me. While I love Mr. Rogers and clearly was an influence in my life, was not the number one TV influence of tiny Nixie's life. That was one Mr. LeVar Burton on Reading Rainbow. And I was telling a story about a number of years ago. I actually got to meet him. My mom and I were going to New York to see shows because that's what we did. And I noticed like a week earlier that he was doing a presentation, lecture-y,
book reading
type thing at an Apple store in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Because his Reading Rainbow app was coming out to the App Store.
That's right. I remember he did one out here too at Rollins.
Yeah, I cared nothing about the app, but I went LeVar Burton.
He's gonna be there.
So we got the train, and like the train was a little delayed, and the entire time it was like I was a little more easily to anxiety panic back then, and I was like, if I miss LeVar fucking Burton, I'm gonna get so mad. And we got a little lost getting to the Apple Store, but we got there.
Yeah.
And we got there early, so we went upstairs, and I'm like front row center seats. I was so goddamn excited. If you know me, you know I cannot contain excitement well.
In her body.
I was like dancing. I was so excited. And all of a sudden, I looked over and there was a doorway and it opened. And inside the room was LeVar Burton. And I was like,
the heavens opened up.
And he like walked out and he was checking something by the podium. And I was like, be cool, play it cool. Oh my God.
Stop freaking out.
He's like 15 feet away from me. Oh shit. Okay. It's LeVar Burton. And all of a sudden he looked up and he looked over at Mom and I and he started walking over and I went, oh, in my body. And he then went and I kid you not, with a straight face, he looked at my mom and I and he went, I am so sorry. We were trying to keep the first row for kids and their parents. And my face must have fucking dropped. And my mom's like, I mean, she's a kid at heart. Does that count? He goes, yeah, that's fine. You can stay there.
That's awesome.
And then they recorded this. They recorded this for an Apple video podcast. It may still exist out there. I've never gone to look it up. However, he started to sing, the entire crowd started to sing the theme song to Reading Rainbow.
Oh.
Halfway through, he stopped, and then the audience stopped, but I didn't.
Of course.
And then he goes, oh, we're going to do the whole thing. So we continued up to the end.
Wow.
Because I was like, butterfly in the sky. I could go twice the size. It was ridiculous. I gave no cares. It's an amazing app. But inside I didn't care. I was just like, it's Jordy. And then afterwards, I stuck around because, of course, I want to meet this man. Mind you, I know I'm tall. I know I'm tall. I'm like 6 foot.
Yeah.
Pocket Jordy. Like, he's
a tiny man.
He's not that tall.
I love when that happens. I've had the opportunity to meet a few famous people, celebrities, I guess. There's only one that caught me by surprise because there's only one that I didn't know I was gonna run into. Like, I've only ever had that happen once. And I was at the Science Museum in San Francisco with a couple of friends for like a nighttime event that they did. And one of my friends goes, hey, is that Chris Hardwick? And I was like, I don't know. No. And I thought she was fucking with me. Because at the time I was like very much like
very
obsessed.
Chris Hardwick fan.
And
we've mentioned before, it's how we became friends.
Yeah. And I was like, no way. She goes, it's Chris Hardwick. And I was like, you're fucking with me. And so I walked over. She goes, yeah, no, in this section, because it's a museum. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, it's Chris Hardwick. But my instinct is to run away. And she's like, you're not running. And I'm there with her and her husband. And I was like, I don't want to go. I got fear. I don't know what to do. And she goes, we're not running. You're going to go. You're going to say hello. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not doing that. She goes, well, I'm going to. And I was like, fuck. She goes, I don't know what he does. What does he do? And I was like, please don't embarrass me. Please don't embarrass me. And so she did. She's like, I'm walking over. Hello, person. You're just a person. So I went, hi, I'm Grace. I think you do awesome work. And he's like, do you want a picture? And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, you. Yeah. I think if I'd ever had a chance to meet Mr. Rogers, I would have cried.
Oh, yeah. So here's the thing. I am tall. I've had this discussion with you, like in real life. I don't realize I'm tall. Yeah. I naturally assume that everyone is around my height. Yeah. So when I run into someone who's very much not, I come a little.
What? Yeah.
I'm tall. Okay. So my hair at the time, just to give you a picture, flaming, not like natural red hair, flaming like red. Flaming Ariel hair. Okay. And one of the greatest moments of my life besides getting a hug from David Tennant and giving a hug and a flower to Lin-Manuel Miranda, is I got to shake.
Or maybe getting married or anything like that.
I meant like meeting people. I did didn't put those words in there. Sure. Clearly, wedding is, number one.
Sort of important.
Yeah. In terms of meeting celebrity things. And I got to tell, and if he's heard this, I'm sure he's heard this before, but he played it off as a pro, as if he's never heard it before. But I told him that I wanted to thank him, and I legitimately thought for years that Geordie LaForge taught me how to read. For years, I thought it was Geordie LaForge on Reading Rainbow.
Oh my God.
Because I was watching Next Gen, from birth.
Yeah.
So I thought.
I remember taking my headband and doing the Geordie LaForge thing.
Yeah.
Where you just flip it over your eyes. Yeah. I was strange.
You're not strange. You are everyone.
Sure. Okay.
I thought Geordie LaForge taught me how to read, and he played it off as if he's never heard that before. So that's because he's an acting pro.
Well, he's a gracious man, I'm sure.
And so I have a fantastic photo of me and my mom with LeVar Burton.
That's awesome. The moral of this story is the won't you be my neighbor. I just keep wanting to call it the Mr. Rogers neighborhood.
It's the Mr. Rogers neighborhood. It's Tom Hanks is the only person on the face of the earth that could play Mr. Rogers.
Please go watch it. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be
our
like collective soul needs a little more kindness.
It does.
In this world. And I think that's a good way to get it.
So real quick before we get into talking about that show that this podcast is about.
Oh, that's right.
Do we want to cover briefly what happened yesterday?
The fucking chaos Muppets that took over our day. All right, guys, let's just say this now. If you are solely here for the Stargate stuff, forward another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, I'm not really. You knew what you signed up for when you started listening to us and realized that we start talking about Stargate about 20 minutes into the episode.
Shit, I guess that's true.
This is not a new occurrence.
I think I'm just sorry about life today because I decided to drink like I was 20 years old last night. A friend Amanda and I actually went out with this purpose. It was initially going to be a duck outing, and then it ended up just being friend Amanda and I. So domestic partner boyfriend Jesse said, "Why don't I drive you girls and pick you up just for the sake of safety?"
Oh, 100%.
And so we're like, well, if you're doing that, we're going to double down.
And thankfully, you also knew that you, in emergency circumstances, could have walked.
Nixie.
Well, no, you could have walked to our house.
That's true. That's how close we were.
Yeah.
Although it's probably better that we didn't have that information because we would have walked to your house.
You already technically had that information. It just wasn't cemented far enough into your drunk brain.
Yeah. Like, I guess what I'm saying is I'm glad drunk us didn't think of that.
Just pounding at our door at 1 a.m.
We would have just done it. We would have just been wandering the roads of Central Florida for no fucking good reason.
Just calling out our names into the cosmos.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then gotten picked up for being drunk and disorderly.
So yesterday, before the
real world chaos Muppets were let loose on the world,
the D&D chaos Muppets were let loose in the world.
It was great times. We're had by all. We I don't know if you guys remember last time we played these particular characters, the Allfires.
Yes.
My character died.
Yep.
And was brought back from the dead. And then weird shit happened to one of our players because he gave his memories of the war. Well, that's not why weird shit happened. But on top of that, weird shit happened to him. So as I'm in a recovery bed that I'm not allowed to get out of, or a recovery sandpit.
Yeah. Actually, before she died, there was just an explosion in the town, and two of the Chaos Muppets ran towards the explosion instead of helping our friend not die.
Yeah. And
as you do.
I think at the end of the day, I would have died anyway.
Yeah, it's fine.
But there was no beating that monk.
No.
We are 4th level characters.
It's fine. So we
you follow the
Sam and Muck Wynn found a tinkerer gnome who also likes to explode things along with Sam. Sam now has gunpowder.
Yeah, super safe.
Yep, Sam has a bag of black powder, which is super awesome. And as we're heading back, all of a sudden Wizard Leoric in a trance leaves.
Yeah, to where he didn't even Mr. Phil plays Leoric. And domestic partner boyfriend Jesse is our GM, and he goes,
"You're an NPC now."
He goes, "You're my NPC right now," and he's like, "Oh, okay."
So instead of, because there was some actual game mechanics happening that the actual character had to go through for game mechanic reasons, that was meant to be, hey, your wizard's going to go over here and he's going to meditate for a night. Yeah. And he'll see you in the morning and then we're going to move on.
To add a little flavor and a little drama.
Yeah, Muck decided to follow his friend because he was concerned about his safety.
Sure. I mean, all this weird shit just happened. They just found out that their friend Danae died. Yep. And now the wizard is oddly walking off by himself.
So he went to go follow him and couldn't get his attention. And let's just summarize. The three Chaos Muppets were the ones left alone trying to see if the wizard was okay, and buildings were climbed, doors were attempted to be broken through, someone was set into another dimension and banished for a hot second, and then a wall in this poor woman's inn was destroyed.
They just broke down the door.
And then the police were called.
He was busy studying.
No. The door was not broken down. It was a literal hole.
Oh, that's right.
In the wall.
They went to another man's room and was like, "Excuse me,
we broke into another man's room.
We're the FBI. We're taking over your living room, and by your living room, we mean your hotel room. You poor sad man."
Scared the shit out of him. I did clean all this stuff.
You guys didn't even get his name.
Nope, didn't even ask his name, just barreled into his room. I was trying to say,
this is going to be the big bad of our entire campaign. You guys didn't even say, "I'm sorry."
And then what could have been probably at least let's explain this to the authorities, we're trying to save our friends. Somehow, again, Chaos Muppet made the situation worse somehow by telling the truth-ish.
Oh, sort of. Mostly.
Through a door.
Yelling the truth through a door, saying, "We're not letting you in this door." And then they try to cover the hole with a
sheet with some daggers held up, and then two of them went to the stockades.
They got their asses thrown in jail.
Sam avoided jail to try to watch over our friend. I was finally able to get into the room and go, "Oh, we should just let him be," because his familiar is basically going, "Let him chill."
Yeah. All signs point to back off.
Yeah.
But no. No.
Because I couldn't tell what type of magic it was, but I knew it was higher magic than Leoric had.
Yeah.
And then, to make matters worse, we then get the adult. The adults, because Leoric woke up, and then we get the adults to try to go, talk to the people who are in jail to make sure they're okay. And then we get caught throwing rations into the jail.
Because they're so hungry.
Nothing bad about it, but they had food and water. We wanted to make sure they had some decent food. And I didn't roll a very high stealth hand check because I'm handing food into the jail.
I don't understand. I think Danae has no idea. Poor Danae's like, "I just found a fucking church that I might like here. Can y'all act like you've been here before?" And
then the story ended by us having to pay a fine. And let's just say that there may be a neutral evil vendor that might be rolling into town soon.
It's just fucking a clusterfuck, y'all. And meanwhile, Danae's just like, "I'm just trying to learn some shit from these fighters.
Yep.
In this pit here.
Yep. And we destroyed. They wouldn't even let us fix the inn. We were gonna
just
fix
get
it.
The fuck out of our
town.
And
they basically went, "Get GTFO. I do not want to see your face anymore."
Yeah. Out of game. Fun part was when the magistrate was laying down the sentence and the fine. Only two people understood.
I did.
That time served means you've already served the time.
I knew. To be fair.
I just thought how adorable it was.
It was pretty adorable.
How sheltered some of us are.
It was adorable.
And the rest of us were like, "No, that means you're done. You've already served your time. You've already done your time in the drunk tank."
It was We didn't even get on any adventures. There was no battling.
There was like maybe 4 die roll.
We didn't make a map. I had a decent amount for my tinkering.
Oh, right. I had a couple just because of what I was doing.
Because I made a lighter. I made a medieval lighter.
Right.
I don't need a goddamn spell to make fire. I'm a fucking artificer.
Made a steampunk lighter.
I made a steampunk lighter. Yeah, and I'm making a scope.
I learned a little bit of fighting from some monks, so that was kind of badass.
That was cool.
Yeah.
My version of fighting is making shit.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep. I have black powder. I'm gonna make smoke bombs. Literal like poof.
Yeah.
Smoke bomb. Like those smoke bombs.
Pocket sand.
Pocket sand, basically.
All right.
Okay.
We've hit our almost 20-minute mark.
Alrighty.
Let's do this.
Should we get into this? I don't have a decent AKA besides something different Simpsons reference. Actually, my AKA might be Kiss Kiss Bang Bangalore. That might be my for reasons I'll get to momentarily. Okay.
I like my lock your doors, Jack.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it.
Just lock your doors.
Lock fucking doors, dude.
I think January 8th, 2005. I could be super wrong. I didn't look up actually when this aired in the US. I failed.
No.
I think that's the right date.
I will look it up. Keep going.
Okay. Written by Jesus Christ. Written by Robert C. Cooper.
John C. Reilly wrote this episode.
Directed by Andy Makita. The main guest star. Do you really have to do some?
Yes.
No. I mean, in terms of everyone already fucking knows who this is, right? Yes. Don Castellaneta. That's how Nixie says it. That's how it's supposed to be said. Is the way Grace said it.
Homer Simpson himself, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, among basically half the other characters of the show. He actually wrote Kiss Kiss Bang Bangalore, which is the one that RDA guest stars because the twins are obsessed with RDA, as are we all.
IMDb states the air date for Citizen Joe as February 18th.
That's probably right.
2005.
That's probably correct. Oh, we had made references around Valentine's. No, that was the last one that said it was around Valentine's Day.
Says it feels around close.
It's fine. It's fine. But Dan is one of those voice actors who's basically been in every animated show you've ever seen in your entire life.
Probably true.
He has like 4 Emmys for his Simpsons work.
Well, I feel like if you work on The Simpsons, you're just handed an Emmy.
Basically, at some point.
As you walk in the door.
At some point in your career.
It's in your swag bag of like, welcome to The Simpsons. Here's your Emmy.
They just have so many. They're like regurgitating them too. But that was actually, he started that.
He actually just won those at the company holiday party.
Probably.
He didn't even win them at the Emmys.
If I remember correctly, like the Simpsons was one like early on his career, and now it's just his everything.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Well, we're doing a show for what, 30 years now?
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I can't imagine working anywhere that long. Like in Hollywood.
To be fair, I can't imagine being alive 30 years right now because I don't remember those first couple years. So it's like my memory is only 30 years.
Well, if you think about it, even if you work a regular job, your entire career, let's say you work from the age of 20 to 65, it's 45 years.
That's what I'm saying. Like
you work at just one job.
Like my memories extend 30 years, basically. The coherent ones, at least.
Doesn't make sense.
So we start with Jack, again, coming home with groceries, again, on the phone with Sam, discussing
if I make weird sounds,
plans.
It's because my foot fell asleep.
Okay.
Sorry, y'all.
And his plans, at least partly, are to make his world-famous omelet, which Sam is fairly sure that the ingredients eggs don't like make a recipe make. Although they may or may not have a secret ingredient that may or may not be beer.
Yeah.
Well, no, you put milk in with your eggs.
I mean, why not beer?
So beer's probably the same.
They're probably spongy and light with all the carbonation.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. Which makes sense because he drinks crap beer.
He does.
And he picked up something mildly nicer.
It's semi-crap beer is what we've established.
Sure. But he picked up something that's semi-better.
Yes.
Because I think he's got like a fat tire there.
It looked like, I didn't catch, but I mean, Fat Tire is a respectable beer. That is one that I will drink.
I agree.
That's like my ballpark level beer.
Yeah. It was one of my favorites when we were like, We're now 24. We don't
Yes.
drink shit anymore.
It's like if
it's
like if it's gonna be a 4th of July party and I'm like stocking beer in the fridge,
Yeah.
like that's Fat Tire level
That's
is
what
where
we're
I go
doing.
to.
Yeah. No, Fat Tire was our fancy shit.
So just then a guy comes through his kitchen with a gun. And Jack, cool as a fucking cucumber, is like, yeah, Sam, I'm going to
Gotta go.
I'm gonna call you back. This guy's name doesn't matter. All Jack needs to know is that Jack ruined this guy's life.
Yeah. Nervous intruder.
But really, all the lights, the natural light in Jack's house is amazing.
Yeah.
I would love to take that one wall out that separates his living room and kitchen, upgrade his kitchen.
Yeah, can we talk about the shitty kitchen he's got?
To be fair, that doesn't surprise me. Here's the thing that I can imagine in Jack's house. Everything functions perfectly. He just gives no shits about upgrading it to something nicer.
That's fair. That's about right. Everything's just really clean.
Exactly. That's what I kind of see. It's like everything works like a Swiss tank.
Yeah.
He just doesn't care about fancy upgrades.
Yeah, that's fair.
However, if I might be able to get in there.
Although maybe his game room. Like his TV room is fancy as fuck.
Yeah, because that's in the back. That's not that main living room. He has a man cave.
His lazy boy that he watches TV in is like massage chair level.
But if I get in there, take that wall down, upgrade the kitchen, I'm sure upgrade the baths.
Yeah.
Man, I will take that house.
Yeah.
In an instant.
I mean, I would take that house even without the upgrade.
I am down for any place like that where you are just isolated enough that you don't have to put window treatments on.
I do like that.
Because there's never going to be someone back there in the kitchen or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I like
the other question is if he had to pick up eggs for his omelets, there's 2 cartons of eggs behind him on the counter. Now, here's the question.
Oh, is this a riddle?
Did he forget
the fire is out? Sorry.
Did he forget he had eggs? And these are like local eggs that like don't have to be fridge because true eggs don't necessarily have to be real eggs as opposed to fake ones.
Yeah, pretend eggs.
Or are those the empty cartons that reminded him to get eggs?
He went to make an omelet, pulled out the cartons, and they were both empty.
Okay.
He's not mindful enough to throw them away.
Gotcha.
They sat on the counter and he came back with new eggs.
Okay.
That's why there's 2, because he probably left them both in the fridge for a while.
That I can work with that.
Mm-hmm.
I can work with that.
That's my thought. That's
works.
my theory.
So
that's my slovenly bachelor theory.
Credits. We come back 7 years ago. Joe and his wife Charlene are at a garage sale, and we get a very important life lesson. 7 a.m. is too late to arrive at a garage sale for all the good sales.
Oh, Jesus. So I learned something very recently from my sister, who's a garage sale aficionado.
Yes.
If there is not a specific item that you are looking for, it's actually really good to go at the end of the sale.
Because they just want to get shit away. They just
want to get rid of shit.
Yep.
Now, if there's a particular item you saw and you're like, I know they have this thing and I want this thing, that's one story. But if you're just going to browse, go at the very last minute and be like, they'll give you an entire box of shit for $5.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
But hidden among all the items for sale, Joe finds a small stone with some markings on it. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he holds it, he gets a flash of the Stargate Kawooshing and SG1 heading out for the rebellious mission of within the Serpent's Crafts to go find and save Skara. And Joe immediately is like, I want this stone.
I need it. I don't know what it is, but I need it. He really did this to himself.
He did.
A smarter man would have been like, this is above my pay grade. I'm leaving it be.
So it turns out Joe's a barber, and he has a store called Stylin' Joe.
Yeah.
Also, they're in Indiana with the insane amounts of Indiana University shit that's everywhere.
Yeah, seriously.
They've got to be fucking close to Bloomington.
It's a really cute little town.
Yeah.
This is the kind of little shop space where if I run into one, I'm like, where's the record store? I know there's a record store. Also, the intro to this episode is very much out of an 80s movie, and it makes me love it.
It's
the whole, I found a weird old relic accidentally. I'm just Joe Schmo. Literally, my name is Joe.
So he's cutting Fred's hair, and he's telling he's like fumbling his way through an already bad joke about an ape or gorilla or monkey ordering. It's so bad.
It's like a drunk person telling a joke.
Yeah.
I know because I was one yesterday.
And he's cutting Fred's hair, who's the car salesman.
Uh-huh.
And Bert is another barber who works there. Gordy is like the sweeper boy.
Sure.
And apparently Joe keeps the stone in his pocket because that's where Fred puts the money for the haircut. And as soon as he touches the stone again, he gets another vision from Certain's grasp.
I want to take a minute and discuss this town.
Yes.
Does it know that it's in the 2000s?
No. Well, okay, here's the thing. I don't know if here's the thing you truly may not realize.
Okay.
The whole like middle part of the country, like there is a time warp you go into as you enter the center of the country. So they don't necessarily realize that they're in the 2000s sometimes. Like they know it.
But no, I wasn't even here, which is a pretty bustling area. I felt like I'd gone back 3, 4, or 5 years.
Yeah. That increases as you hit that center farmland part of the country.
How interesting.
Because even where I lived in Minnesota was like that. And I lived in southern Indiana.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
This is amazing to me.
Yeah. I lived in southern Indiana. That was southern Indiana in like 2002.
My brain broke. My brain just broke. So if we went there now, would it be like 2010?
Yeah.
So cool.
Like it is like 2019 there, but like the stuff it takes a little time to trickle and what's the capillary movements of things.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
My brain's broken. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a little slower to get there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That explains the Home Improvement Jill outfits that the wife wears.
I'm also going to admit that I may have owned that outfit.
What even is it? Okay.
I technically own 2 sweater vests right now.
Oh.
One is slightly fashionable. One is the equivalent of hers.
Oh boy.
My jackets fit like
function.
Yeah.
Over form.
Yeah.
Function
No,
over
that
fashion.
outfit. I've seen that outfit many times.
Or the big flannel thing that she wears at the end.
Yeah, no, I think I owned that. Oh, that's so exciting. I mean, I lived in Minnesota when I owned it.
I've only ever
and
worn
in Michigan.
Flannel, ironically.
Yeah, no,
or as a grunge teen.
I believe I still have my favorite flannel over jacket that bartender Nick could wear.
Wow.
Yeah.
A flannel over my overalls and my baby tee.
I went through my high school. I went through a very long phase where I would wear t-shirts, jeans, and a giant flannel unbuttoned overcoat style over it.
I mean, that was the 90s style though, right?
Yeah, it wasn't the 90s.
It makes me so happy. All right.
This was literally like 2001. That's why I said there was like it's like a 10-year time gauge.
Awesome. I'm super excited by all of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So but he flashes to Clorox himself waking up out of the sarcophagus. Yes, the name is back. With everyone bowing before him and the team watching in horror. And Joe like looks around going, "Did you fuckers see what I saw?" And they didn't.
No, his wife was busy reading The Heart of a Woman.
Oh, we're going to get to that. We're about to touch on that. At home for dinner, Charlene goes on about the book they're reading for book club, which is The Heart of a Woman and how powerful it is. Here's the thing. The picture of the book that we see later, I don't know what the fuck book that is.
Interesting.
There is a book called The Heart of a Woman by Maya fucking Angelou. That is not the cover of any book.
No, the book that she's reading sounds like smut.
Yeah, but it's in a book club and it's a moving and touching story.
Or like a Lifetime movie.
Yeah, there is like a gray white woman on the cover, which I'm pretty sure is on no cover of any book by Maya Angelou.
That's probably not right.
So this is the one that came out. Maya Angelou's came out in '81. And it's in her autobiographical
Oh boy.
series. It's like her in the late 50s, early 60s. It's not one of the ones I've read. I did somehow meet her in high school. She did like a lecture type thing, and I do happen to have a signed copy of I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings.
Jesus, that's awesome.
I have no fucking clue what she's reading later on. I tried to
The Heart of the Woman is an autobiography by American writer Maya Angelou.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The cover later on is not that.
Interesting.
So that's a fun thing.
It's about a woman, and she works at a hospital, but she's not happy.
And her lover died tragically, and the heart was transplanted
into a woman.
into a woman.
And she was there for this.
And now is fighting her urges for falling in love with this woman.
Because it's the heart of this woman
that she is in love with.
Which is her lover.
Which is her dead husband's heart.
Her husband.
Clarence. Her husband's name is Clarence, and this woman's name is Claire.
That is right.
Yeah.
That is right.
I remember that tidbit.
And also, she's never really wanted to keep this job. This was supposed to be temporary. What she really wants to do is paint.
She does.
On an ocean side. With her tea, staring out into the ocean. And she used to dream about her husband coming up behind her with a new cup of tea.
Because they live in the middle of the country, and so she hasn't gotten to see the ocean in real life before.
She imagines Claire, and she is torn.
And how it ends up,
Claire's married.
And exactly, and how it ends
She's
up,
an unhappy marriage.
You just have to read the book.
Okay, we're done now.
Okay, we're done.
That was the best. I feel like a golf clap is necessary.
Kaylee is barking as well. She's slightly upset with the story that we just told.
She's disturbed by the story.
Joe interrupts her from describing the heart of a woman, and
she didn't do nearly as good of a job as me.
And to tell the story about some adventures on SG1, and we flash to Serpent's Grasp again as the ship comes and reaches Earth.
To like baby Daniel,
yeah,
you don't realize was such a baby until you see him.
Explain to Charlene and Andy, who is their kid, about the Gould and how Scar and Clorox are like the same person but different, and flash to Jack having to shoot Scara since he's torturing Daniel, and he ends the storyline there because he doesn't know, hasn't figured out what happens after that. And Charlene isn't like a huge science fiction fan, and wonders how Joe came, because it's so detailed. And I really wanted Joe to say that it popped into his Fran. But we haven't reached
that would have been fucking awesome.
But we don't know Fran yet. He hasn't been to fifth race yet.
Fran.
Yeah.
He doesn't know Franz.
Charlene thought it was very exciting, but she likes stories that are more about interpersonal relations, about trading hearts, to do with things blowing up.
Cups of tea and paintings.
And ocean paintings.
I feel like I can hear Kenny G in the back of this novel.
And instead of the traditional like guy with the shirt off, it's just like two women like embracing over a cup of tea, like ghost
in like
style.
white gauzy,
standing on a cliff of an ocean with a paintbrush in one hand, staring at each other's eyes with a cup of tea.
Slightly creepy, but supposed to be sensuous. Yes.
One has blonde hair, one has black hair.
Of course, because
So next day at the shop, Joe's describing a giant fireball in the night sky. And what follows is basically me trying to describe Stargate to people who don't really give a shit about Stargate or follow science fiction.
It's definitely that moment where you're like, I shouldn't be telling this story to anybody.
They're part of the Air Force, but they travel over planets.
It's like that meme with the girl and like the mom covered up and she's looking at her side-eyed. It's basically that meme.
It's me. In the D&D yesterday, Sam broke into a couple times where she just like stream of consciousness rambles for about 30 seconds till she runs out of breath and then somehow keeps going and just everyone kind of stares at her going, what the fuck just happens?
I love I feel like poor husband Nick kept trying to stop you so that you wouldn't pass out, where the rest of us are like, no, let her do this. Let's see how far she goes.
Just let her go. She's talking to the magistrate right now, so we'll see how this turns out.
Where in real life, he's like, she's going to pass out. And we're like, no, it's fine. Do it for the story.
Yeah. It's not a time travel device, but sometimes it is, and it matters if the symbiotes are in your head or in your belly, and they're not snake people, and it's not confusing, it's complex.
Sure. That's what I'm going to say from now on.
All while waving a straight razor over Fred's face.
There's no face like Terra. It's not confusing. It's complex.
That's our new tagline.
Yep.
It's officially our new tagline. We're not confusing. We're complex. That might be my AKA for the episode.
I like it.
Joe tries calling the Air Force, asking to speak with Jack O'Neill, 2 L's.
Yeah.
And he knows he might be off on some important mission, but like, hey, random operator who's most likely never met this dude, can you like describe his physical features to me?
Yeah, that's not creepy.
But you mean there is Jack O'Neill?
At that point, they're just keeping him on the line to tap him, right?
Yeah. And instead of leaving a message for him, he just hangs up because he kind of fears that Jack might be real at this point.
Yeah. And then what? Yeah.
Yeah. So bedtime stories later, he tells Andy family with Apatha's kidnapping and brainwashing Ryak. Great bedtime stories for young kids about that age.
How things are just going to take over your mind. Super cool.
And later that evening, Joe is watching, I'm assuming, a Pacers game because it's fucking Indiana.
Oh, right. Wait, or college ball, right?
Well, those are not, Hoosier colors are not blue. I didn't see red. I could have missed it. Pacers have blue.
Oh, okay. Got it. That's right.
I know
it's only in the barbershop that he's got the IU
and his kid has it all over too. I know very little about basketball, but I lived in Indiana for 2 years and people asking me about every other week if I wanted to play basketball for this school. And I was like, fuck you.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. I would have
just because I'm tall, that doesn't mean I want to play basketball.
I don't want to be an athlete. Thanks, bye.
So Charlene is reading Heart of the Woman and wonders where all these ideas are coming from. Normally, fully formed ideas don't just appear in someone's head. Sometimes they do.
I mean, I would say that's debatable.
And she thinks the wording that she uses here is like, mwah, it's just perfection. Thinks that he's getting in touch with his dormant creativity and accessing his inner wellspring of imagination, opening himself up to his inner muse.
Do you think that was a sentence they came up with together in book club?
Probably, yes.
They're like, how do we best say this to your husband?
In the most pretentious.
Yeah, condescending.
Like, these are, it is like how many fancy important sounding words can they cram in here?
Yeah, they were writing a paper. Like they were writing a fucking paper.
Yes. I love it. So a year later, Joe is still telling stories at the barbershop, telling Fifth Race. But now Bert and Gordy are like into it. And we get footage of Jack first meeting the Asgard, and we can marvel at how far graphics have come in this series.
That's true.
And Bert adorably asks about the Furlings. And are we ever going to hear about them? And Joe's like, yeah,
super, all the time.
Well, I'm sure we'll hear a ton about them. I mean,
times.
I will definitely make up stories about the Furlings. And Gordy says they sound like Ewoks.
I like that.
Do you think we'll ever see the Furlings at this point?
I think if we want to see the Furlings, we're going to have to write a story.
Okay.
Which just gave me an idea.
There's gonna be Furlings in our D&D campaign, our Stargate D&D campaign.
There will be Furlings around.
So back at the house, they're having breakfast. After school, Andy has to do the lawn. This kid looks 6.
Yeah, seriously. I was going to say that. It takes me, an adult grown woman, now mind you, we do live in the swamps of Florida, 2 days to mow my lawn. And I do have the biggest lawn in the fucking world.
Yeah.
Because somehow our lawn is 3 times the size of our house.
This makes sense.
But I mean,
you have 2 giant beasts.
We bought
animals.
a house so we could have beasts.
You have a house for your dogs.
Purely.
Yeah.
Purely. It really are the reason we got a house.
I know this.
It takes me 2 days to mow our lawn. There's no way this tiny child.
So when I was growing up, we had a riding lawnmower. We didn't have a huge yard. We had a riding lawnmower. I mean, it was decent sized yard.
Sure.
Like it was probably the equivalent of yours, but a different shape.
That means I can have a riding lawnmower.
You could. But the important part is I did not want to mow the lawn.
Right.
So therefore, I left fucking mohawks like you cannot believe. And guess who then had to mow the lawn from now on? Not me. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I just had to do other shit. I just didn't want to mow the
How
lawn.
do you not want to ride a riding lawnmower?
I have no idea.
That would have been my favorite thing. I would have been like, can I mow the lawn every day?
My grandfather used to put us, sit us on the front of the riding lawnmower and, ride around his thing, up and down hills.
Yes.
Yeah, and, hold on to us so we didn't, fly forward.
I mean, I remember we used to get to sometimes go rent 4-wheelers.
Yeah.
When my dad was working in Arizona.
He had a trailer to put on the back of the riding lawnmower, so we just, ride us around the neighborhood in the trailer,
That's
too.
awesome.
Yeah.
Also, life goals, riding lawnmower.
To where I learned how to whistle. In the trailer part of the riding lawnmower around my grandfather's.
I will not force people to listen to me try to whistle.
That's okay. I can't roll my R's. You've seen this happen.
I can roll my R's.
Yeah, well, I would hope you can.
Yes.
It's not built into my DNA to roll R's. Yeah. You've tried.
Yes.
You're like, I can teach anyone to roll R's. And you're like, I fucking give up on you.
Just kidding, I can't. Yeah.
You heathen.
Yes.
So
I can roll R's, but sometimes I pick up a lisp and I can't whistle.
I can whistle, but I can't roll R's.
Nice.
I can roll my tongue too.
I think I do that.
Okay. So, and if he gets the lawn mowed, then Dad will tell him about the reto. And Andy heads off to school, so excited because he's going to tell him about the foothold situation.
Yay.
Charlene actually is like, maybe we should lighten up on the storytelling. Not everyone wants to hear about SG1 and Jack, all day, every day.
No, they do.
And at the shop, they're just being polite.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently everywhere else in town, he also tells these stories. And they're tone it down 4 notches. Don't stop telling them. Just write them down instead of verbally assaulting us with stories so that if we don't want to, we don't have to.
True.
So later, Joe is literally lying in bed, holding the stone, flashing to the end of 1969.
Oh, yeah.
And he gets up to write the story down on his laptop, narrating as he goes. Charlene comes down and is like, what the actual fuck, dude? This is the 3rd night in a row.
You know what, though? If she's going to live with the writer, she's going to have to get used to that shit.
Yeah,
that's just the reality.
It's going to happen.
Either he's getting up at 4 a.m. randomly to write, or he's staying up until 2 a.m. to write.
Yeah.
Or he's just writing. All the time he's writing. All the time writing.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, that's a reality.
So sometime later, Joe narrates the end of 100 Days.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, both Bert and his wife, Cindy, are moved to tears.
Oh,
wondering if Laura is pregnant.
I forgot about that.
You just have to wait to the sequel, which clearly will come.
With the baby happens.
Calvin, the mail delivery guy, comes in. Apparently, Joe has sent out a ton of letters to some magazines, and they all have come back as rejections.
Yeah, again, speaking of, if you're going to be a writer, you got to get used to that shit.
Yeah, and I mean, Gordy doesn't think he should have sent Seth. It wasn't one of Joe's best. And Bert is just amazed that the magazine turned down Hathor because that was gold.
I mean, are we going to have a Hathor rant, or should we just let it go?
We're going to let it go. We've ranted on Hathor enough.
Fair.
So 3 years ago, Andy is older.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much older is Andy?
I have no idea.
Did they put the kid on steroids?
I think so.
Because the kid is aged 15 years.
I'm
sure that kid is 21 now.
Legit looks like he's 14.
Yeah. Yeah.
The earlier kid was not 11.
No, the first kid was maybe 7.
Maybe. Yeah.
This kid can drive.
Yeah.
This kid is old enough to have an affair with a lonely housewife.
There's a time jump there.
There's something weird going on. Something sketchy.
The casting may have
Meanwhile, mom is still stuck in whatever decade she's stuck in.
Oh, I can name you the exact stores that she probably shopped at too.
I love that.
And brings Wormhole Extreme to his dad's attention. He's amazed and stunned. And Andy just says, there's no such thing as original idea anymore. We're all just regurgitating the same old ideas over and over again, running them through into a giant melting pot of mediocrity.
I love the tongue-in-cheekness of these writers.
Yes.
Let's just talk about how genius, how smart they are, how to take a clip show and make it fun to watch.
Here is the part that we were fully, and we've already had it in a lot of episodes, even like Wormhole Extreme.
Yeah.
You are getting into, I will admit, some of my favorite things about Stargate once you get into the later seasons, because they're able to put this shit into the episode.
Yeah.
They're able to put all of these really deep cut, long calls in there that are purely for the fans, for the fan service that you earn. It's like someone was criticizing Endgame for being all fan service, and I was like, don't care. I'm completely here for the fan service. Yeah. There could be a show called Fan Service, and I would be here for it because they fucking have earned it.
Yeah, I think the frustration comes from wanting some things that aren't just fan service.
Yeah,
but I get that.
And like Endgame had a ton that was not fan service. This show has like earned these lines in here.
Yeah, well, it's just like every now and then I would love to find something that isn't fan service.
Yes,
but sometimes it's okay. Yeah, everything in moderation.
That's what I'm saying. These things have earned it. Stargate at this point could make these things, especially the one that they make later on about some of their episodes that may have missed the mark. The fact that they can put that in there, I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
So Joe isn't mad for long, because apparently at the shop later on we learned that he started to bring up a lawsuit, but since the show was canceled after an episode, he wasn't really worried about it.
Sure, yeah.
Joe has a new story, which is Failsafe, about a giant asteroid heading towards the Earth. And Fred saw this when it hits Paris, which is a direct quote that Jack said. But really, Fred is good without any SG1 stories today. But Joe tells him anyway how Sam saved the day by creating hyperspace window through the Earth. Fred's like, how often exactly can these people save
all
the world
time, Fred?
From Apophis? And look, Fred, Apophis is dead. This was Anubis.
All the time, Fred.
Yeah.
All the time.
All of it.
Every time.
At the house later, Charlene wants to talk to Joe. But he's writing and not paying any attention.
Of course.
Charlene is like, you need to stop, like, for good.
Yeah.
And Joe has closed the shop early 3 days this past week to come home and write. It's starting to affect their bills.
Yeah, this is bad times, Joe.
He's like, business has been slow. And Charlene's like, you don't see the dots that connect here?
The reason business is slow is because nobody fucking wants to be around you.
But Joe just knows he just has to get a few stories published and then get an agent and they'll be set. And she reminds him and shows them a box of 326 rejection letters.
It's not even a lot.
That's not actually a lot at all. But she does say they're not even reading him anymore. They're just sending it back at moment. Yeah. You need to find different places to send them. But she's read Holiday, The Light, Sentinel, which Joe admits were missteps. But they're getting better. And she's like, I know, but the team interaction just isn't what it used to be.
Oh, God, that's a good one.
It's so good. Charlene doesn't hate the stories, just what the stories are doing to Joe.
Fair.
And Joe is honest here, where he's like, I don't know if I can stop.
I'm broken now.
Yeah, I might have a little bit of an addiction.
Yeah, this is a problem.
And he admits that he thinks everything is real and it's happening, and he can just see them because of the stone, which is clear Charlene does not believe. Yeah. And he goes, but just here, let me show you, hold the stone. And that's when he realizes he can't find the stone. And he starts
This is the saddest.
He starts to lose it a little bit. Charlene tried to throw away, and Joe ravages through the kitchen trash and then the trash on the curb. It's not a great state. And eventually he finds it outside at night, picking through the trash, and he picks it up just in time to be hit by flashes from Meridian of Daniel dying. And he breaks down in tears, sobbing in the street while the neighbor looks confused.
Super weird flashes to Shawshank Redemption here. Just in a pile of poop, screaming at the rain. Also, what is his neighbor doing?
Well, he's just taking out the trash.
Is he though? I don't see any garbage cans.
He's taking out the bags. If there's no trash can, he's just taking out the bags to put on the corner.
At some point,
here
I still think the neighbor's creepy. Here's why.
Well, he's there the next day too.
Well, yes, but even before we get to that, which only adds to my theory. If you see your neighbor doing some weird shit like that, what's your instinct? Because mine is to be like, fuck. Set the bags down, run inside.
It depends on the neighbor, I think.
Run inside. I want to be no part of any of this. If I'm curious, I watch from my window like a good nosy neighbor.
To be fair, I did that. I used to do that with my neighbor. At the same time, I was also having to call the police on the neighbor at the same time. So that was a whole different situation.
But if you're just interested in watching someone spiral, which is fine, I'm not judging.
Thanks, Kaylee.
Kaylee's judging.
Kaylee's judging. We see them. Okay. Yeah. You done?
If you're going to watch your creepy neighbors, do it from a distance. Don't stand there looking weird.
This is true.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay. So sometime later at the shop, there is no business. Gordy is just sweeping nothing.
Poor kid.
Calvin has a few more letters from magazine just as to toss them. There's also a letter from the Air Force, and apparently it's another letter telling him that his request to meet with Jack has been rejected again. Calvin says that if Joe is so real that this is so sure that this is real, don't just write letters. Like, call them, make this a action plan. But Joe's like, I can't, because I'm gonna disappear in a heartbeat, like Armin Selig did and be killed by the NID. He was the reporter that met Jack in secret, who was hit by a car that we never really knew who was driving that car. It was totes the NID.
We know things.
Calvin is like, I'm going to go back to my route now and get out of this depressing barbershop.
This is weird. Gotta go. Bye.
So after shutting down the shop, I'm sure early again, he gets a flash from Abyss with Daniel showing up to help Jack.
Yay.
And he literally dances for joy down the road.
Yeah, it becomes a musical.
It does. Yeah. He's singing in the sun. Just singing in the sun. Joe runs home to joyfully tell his wife that Daniel's alive, because certainly she'll care. It takes a bit to find her in the house, though, because she is packing up her clothes.
He barely notices that she's packed all her
Barely notices.
Yikes.
She's going to her mother's for a while. The kid, I'm assuming, is already there. He's not in the car.
Yeah.
If he has any interest in saving their marriage, he will see someone who can help him. Outside, she tearfully gets in the car and drives off as Joe's about to say that their problems are small compared to that of SG1, but thankfully stops himself.
Stop that. Yeah.
And that neighbor is watching all this go down
again. Now what is he doing out there? He's just literally standing there.
I think he was technically trying. I think he was raking leaves.
In the middle of the night?
Sure.
In the dark? He just grabbed whatever was closest to him so he could go stand outside.
It was not in the middle of the dark. It was blatant sunlight.
Oh, you're right. You're right. That was the other day.
Yeah.
But again, he's just standing there holding a rake.
He is.
He's the worst liar. He's the worst to be nosy.
He is the true villain in this episode.
He is the worst person of this whole series. Okay, I'm done.
Back in the shop, Joe is writing another letter to Jack, telling him how he knows everything, all the top secret stuff, and Jordy stumbles in and just scares the shit out of him. Him and Bert are going to head home early, and honestly, since it's been really slow around the shop, Gordy's actually also applied at the Piggly Wiggly.
Oh my God, how dare you! Betrayal!
After he leaves, Joe looks at the paper and doesn't just toss it away, but tears it into little tiny pieces. And then we get this really, and he sees Daniel fall, like just naked Daniel at that point.
Yeah.
And then we get the.
It's a fun little way to make it that transition. Yeah. Is what they were trying to do.
But then we see what might be like the most depressing part of the entire episode.
Yeah.
Because it's just Joe sitting in his underwear with a half-eaten microwave tray hanging off his lap.
It's awful.
With the TV on static, with just the stone up to his head, getting visions of Fallen and Orpheus and Evolution and Heroes.
The saddest part.
There's like stains. It's so depressing.
Yeah. It's like you might as well be playing like Sarah McLachlan's Arms of the Angel.
In the arms of an angel. So cut
with
to
the puppies.
Oh,
there were puppies.
Cut to one. Our puppy has now started coming over to complain about our singing.
Oh, she's gonna join.
She's going to. Cut to 1 year ago, and Charlene and Joe meet in a park. Joe promises to focus on rebuilding his career and family if he can have
this is where she's wearing my favorite giant red flannel.
Well, she was wearing this when she left too.
Oh, that's right.
But she's wearing a sweater vest underneath this one with a mock turtleneck.
I do remember mock turtlenecks. But mind you, when I wore one, it was 1993.
I'm also saying I'm seriously not lying when I say I think I owned this outfit. Like, you guys don't know the dork that I was.
I love you so much for that.
Like, I wore it in public as a teenager.
As opposed to not public? Of course you did. I wore a lot of Disney stuff.
Yeah.
If that makes you feel better.
No. The other thing I wore a lot of was the, and I don't know what they're called, but everyone knows exactly what they are, but they were like the shirts with the very large, like, naturalistic paintings of dolphins and wolves.
Oh,
and shit.
Yeah. Like screen prints.
The screen prints, and mine were all dolphins. Shocker.
Wow.
Yeah. I would wear those underneath my flannel overshirts.
That's so kind of metal.
Yeah. And then I would camp in the corner of the library all summer.
We're going to have a party one year that's just themed with the screen print shirts, and we're all going to wear one.
I don't know if I still have one. I danced for people who know. And I did solos one year, and I got to pick my own costumes.
Did you wear dolphins?
No, I wore an oversized flannel shirt around my waist.
Yes, you did.
And all the edges have rhinestones on them.
Wow.
And I still own that. It's upstairs right now.
Fuck yes. You should wear it all the time. I rhinestoned
a flannel shirt.
Like a rhinestone flannel.
Yep. Okay. And I danced to a Miko song.
Wowza. I'm impressed.
Right.
Where the fuck were we?
It was the meeting in the park. And he just asked for another chance. But to her, it was his obsession and addiction to the stone. Because let's call a tree, an addiction to the stone.
You know, I'm actually really proud of her. She's like a real person.
She is.
She's actually very kind. She's like, I'm trying to be supportive.
Yeah.
It's really just, the problem isn't the actual stories, it's what they're doing to you.
Exactly.
Yes.
And Joe owes her an explanation. So he brought proof with him.
Oh boy.
That it was all real. And he shows her a photo of Jack from a newspaper and newspaper clippings of real life stories that match with the timings of his visions as cover stories. And she just sees it as him using real people and events to anchor his stories.
Yeah.
She's been talking to several doctors, and they think, without seeing him, so I'm assuming this was not actually what they thought, but more of her WebMDing this shit, that it might be manic psychosis of grandiose delusions.
Yes, doctors do not diagnose a patient if the patient is not present.
No, that's not a thing that they do.
That's not how that works.
So when you say you've talked to several doctors, you mean you WebMD'd shit. Meanwhile, Joe looks up and has a vision of Lost City, of them fighting over an answer for Earth's survival. Although at this point, Jack wasn't the head of Stargate Command. So when he said Jack's the head of the SGC, he was not at this point.
Interesting.
Fun fact. And Charlene says goodbye and walks off as Joe panics about how close Earth is to destruction. Earth. His house has now been foreclosed by the bank and being repossessed. They're repossessing all his furniture. And we have what is the greatest repo company name of all time. The best.
Yep.
Brothers Grimm Repo.
Jesus, that's dark.
That is the best. I want there to be a real fucking repo company with that name.
We will start one.
That's fucking amazing.
That's not a sad job at all. We will start a repo company.
And he gets in his taxi and drives away. And then this morning, I'm sorry, I'm distracted by how adorable my dog is playing with the silent squeaker toy right now.
Yeah.
And she's looking at us.
Don't look at her.
So this morning, Joe pulled up outside Jack's house and pulls what we know, a gun.
Yeah.
From the glove compartment and heads in.
We basically get back to where we started.
Yes. And Jack's like, this clearly is not your forte.
It's like, what gave it away? The wildly shaking hands?
And since Jack knows that Joe's gun isn't real, but Jack's is, and he pulls a gun out of his junk drawer.
That feels right.
How many guns exactly are stored in slightly unsafe manners around this house?
No children should ever be allowed in his house.
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh, I will give Jack credit. I'm pretty sure the gun doesn't have any ammo in it.
Well, I wonder if it just appears to be that simple. I wonder if he's got it somehow in a secure under storage
It
thing.
might be, but again, it's in his junk drawer.
Yeah, I feel like he may have had it that way in the junk drawer, and then Sam was like, "Here, put it in this thing."
Yeah, but
you can still keep the thing in the junk drawer, but this keeps it safe.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give him that. I will fully assume that that's it.
Yeah.
But needless to say, Jack's gun is real
duct taped underneath.
That's what I would assume. When in doubt, duct tape.
Yeah.
And Joe immediately gives up. It's just a toy. No.
Just kidding. I'm not this at all.
Jack's like, I'm not going to shoot you. But we're going. Many, many, many people will listen to any stories that you want to tell them. And then Joe spills everything in rapid fire.
Yeah.
From his job at SG1 to details like the Argo sex pizza and the ancient repository. And he loves The Simpsons and Mary Steenburgen and Peridot. And Jack does deny, though, at least, that he is a terrible ping pong player.
Yeah. I love the details he chooses to use here. It's
some of my favorites.
Why do we got to bring up the sex pizza?
Because it's very Jack.
It's a very tough subject.
Well, it's just,
it's a bad look for Jack.
If someone knows about the sex pizza, they know. Yeah. You know that they know.
You wouldn't have told that story to anybody.
At the SGC infirmary, Joe sees it. Burns as gold.
I do love this part.
Which is a Lost City reference.
There's no comment I have other than I just love this part. I love how cheesily they got into this and they just enjoyed the fuck out of it.
Yeah. And Sam walks in. Joe's like, "Oh, I'll keep your feelings about someone secret." And it is an honor for Joe to meet Sam. She's confused.
Yeah.
He was super impressed by how Sam blew up that sun. And as far as the whole thing with Pete goes, and he's silenced. What thing with Pete?
Stop.
What thing with Pete?
The things.
What do you think is the thing with Pete?
Whether she's slaving him.
Okay.
She's slaving Pete.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
She got Pete pregnant. He's with child. But his heart is now in a woman.
She's actually
named Claire. I'm sorry.
Grace from Nixie.
He was shot on the job.
Okay. And
continues to be a hero by donating his heart.
I need a hero. And Daniel walks in and he's like, Jonas was cool and all, but Daniel belongs here in SG1. And Daniel's like, what is second week in a row your house is broken into?
Can we not with the house? Lock the fucking doors.
Jack was thinking dog, but Joe points out that you could, lock your door.
Lock your doors.
And then the look Jack gives him.
Yeah. I feel like it bums me out to say this, but I feel like it's appropriate that Daniel says alarm.
Yeah.
He's not a dog person.
No, he's not. To be fair, I don't even know if he's a cat person.
No, he's not an animals person.
You're lucky he's able to keep Jonas's fish alive. And that's probably because Sam is feeding it.
Yeah. It bums me out a little, but he's not an animal person.
He's not an animal person.
It makes me love him a tiny bit less.
Yeah, that's just who he is.
I'm going to hope that it's from this really sane place where he's like, I know that I don't have the time, so I won't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he doesn't like dogs.
He just knows he can't help.
He just doesn't. He's a little awkward with them.
Yeah, he's definitely the friend who I'm like, you don't want to meet Drake and Stormy first.
No,
you don't want those to be the first dogs you meet.
He can meet Kaylee.
Yeah, she's gonna be loud, but that's okay.
Yeah.
If you want to meet my dogs, you have to sit in a chair and let them come to you.
Yeah, you have to pass the dog test, which is just basically take anything that could be removable off you. And then you have to sit on the couch.
And then brace yourself.
And if you survive 30 seconds with those two dogs, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I literally had earrings torn out of my ears by those dogs.
They're
not entry-level dogs.
They're not gentle.
And they don't do it in anything neat. They're just rough and tumble dudes.
They're just they play all day and they come in with scratches and nips and things, and they're perfectly fucking happy about it.
Yep.
Okay, that's fine.
And they will lick your leg for about an hour straight.
Especially if you have bug bites.
Oh yes. Okay. So in the briefing room, as soon as Teal'c comes in, Teal'c like warrior greets him.
Yeah.
Shulk Nimrod.
Nothing made me so happy.
And Teal'c is like, what the actual fuck?
Who is this dude?
Who is this?
I want to start greeting everyone that way.
Shulk Nimrod.
Just full on intense, badass asshole.
Jack's like, Joe, it's a barber. And later asks if Teal'c used to be a little more gold.
Forgot about that.
It's so good. Oh, so I'm saying.
I mean, I think they should dust him a little more often.
Yeah.
He's like a dragon.
It's not bronzer. It's highlight.
Mm-hmm.
It's
just a little bit of highlight.
Shimmer.
Yeah, I like it.
Drawing on the cheekbones. And so apparently Joe has the ATA gene, and Joe tells Jack that if he ever needs someone to use the chair device in Antarctica,
I will do it for him. He is here. Joe is ready.
So many people have.
I have the heart of a woman. Sorry.
I mean, that's essentially the heart of a warrior right there.
Yeah.
So many people have the ATA gene. So why Joe visions? Sam has no clue. And Daniel has figured out the stone question now.
Yeah.
And he thought it looked familiar. And there is a second one. It is a set. The other from the planet with the quantum mirror. Flashback to hair drapes.
Oh my god! Here's the thing. Did they just reshoot this with a terrible wig?
Yeah, they did.
Oh my god, it's the worst.
It's not even good hair drapes.
Yeah.
It's the worst
Super
wig.
bad times. I love it.
It's, I think, a stuffed animal that they took apart.
Yeah, they just like a rodent. There was
bad.
a weasel on set.
It was such a bad.
Stuffed weasel. A taxidermied weasel.
Listen, just put his do-rag on.
Something, yeah.
Just put his action do-rag on.
Yeah, that's true. That would have worked just fine.
So Daniel is cataloging all the stuff they got from the quantum mirror planet. Jack is mindlessly picking up a stone and he drifts off for a bit. And Daniel thinks in current time that they are an ancient long-range communication device where you can share a psychic connection. And like they just both had to activate them.
Interesting.
And the second one ended up in a garage sale since the guy who was selling the garage sale stuff said that his grandfather found it on a dig in Egypt.
That makes sense. Story checks out.
Yeah. And no, Jack did not just carry it around with him. After he activated it, it was sitting on base a couple of floors above where Jack was writing his reports, which is why they're so easy to write for Joe. Jack already did all the hard work.
Stealing Jack's homework.
It is proof that Jack actually wrote out reports, though.
There you go.
Yeah.
And pretty honest ones, too.
Yeah. And Jack's like, all the stories were rejected.
Oh. Poor Jack, yeah.
And then Sam has a point, though. If the stones worked the way that Daniel thinks they worked, wouldn't Jack then have seen Joe's life?
Yep.
Cut to flashes of Joe's life that Jack actually saw.
What did he think? Like that he just had this cool little story that he made up in his brain?
Yeah. He knows that Joe has a good bowling game, though. And Daniel's like, wait a second, you asshole. You've been seeing flashes of a barber in Indiana
for no fucking
for
reason.
7 years, and you never said anything. He's like, yeah, I totally
love
did.
the part where he's like, yeah, I did. It's like, no, you fucking didn't.
I did. No. But, like, you didn't find that, like, weird. And Jack's like, no, it's actually, like, relaxing.
His boring life is relaxing.
Yeah.
I think that Jack really just thought he made it up.
He's just daydreaming.
He just made up a story of a barber named Joe. Now here's the thing. Does that mean Jack has made up other people?
I don't know.
If this seems normal to him,
I don't know.
how many people live in his head? It's like Herman's head.
Yeah. And the last scene is Joe asking Charlene to come to the park again.
Oh, yeah.
Charlene's like, I hate to say this, but she wants finally to get a divorce. Behind you see Jack in his blues getting out of the truck.
Yeah.
And there's someone that Joe wants her to meet. It's Jack. He's very polite, and he's like, I have a couple things to tell you.
I really hate her weak ass handshake.
His weak ass handshake. I do like the one part we can hear about the story is Jack's like, it's all true.
Yeah.
As we pan away.
And everyone is happy. Yay! The end bite. This was fun.
It's like I said, it's a clip show, but it's like the greatest clip show.
It's a fun. It's not a top 10 contender.
Nope.
It's not anything like that. But if you're gonna have to have a clip show
This
for
is the way to
whatever
do it.
budgetary reasons you need, double down.
That's how you do it.
Get all up in it.
Yep.
Go for cheese.
Yeah.
Act like you meant to do it.
Exactly.
I love that.
They built it so beautifully into the story.
It's just so much fun.
It's great.
And thank you, Stargate, for reminding us that it's really just about fun.
It is 100%.
Heck yeah! What's next?
Next is Stargate Atlantis Before I Sleep, I actually really enjoy this episode.
Interesting.
We're getting into the end of season 1, and there are some really cool episodes at the end of season 1.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Atlantis.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right.
All right. We'll see you guys next week with Atlantis. Until then, find us on Twitter at Terra Podcast.
Facebook at There's No Place Like Terra.
Email us at theresnoplaceliketerra@gmail.com.
Rate us, like us, review us on Apple Podcasts. I forgot the thing about the Patreon. That's the thing you find us on too.
Patreon.com/theresnoplaceliketerra.
And yeah.
Bye guys. We'll see you soon. Okay, bye.
Oh wait, I didn't end the stream yet. Okay.